Thank you for joining us, everyone. We're excited to kick off a new webinar series with you today and introduce a new partner of ours, Ressmeyer Partners. I'm Katie Previs, Director of Research here at Burtch Works Executive Recruiting. A few quick logistics items before we begin. First, only our presenters will be speaking, but please submit any questions you have for Tim via the chat function on the left-hand side of your screen. He will answer your questions during our live Q&A at the end of the talk. If you have any technical issues, submit those through the chat box too, and I'll do my best to help you. Finally, this session is being recorded and will be available on our YouTube channel within a day or two. So if you missed part of it or want to share it with a colleague, please feel free to check it out. So today, as I mentioned, we're kicking off a new webinar series with a new Burtch Works partner, Tim Ressmeyer of Ressmeyer Partners. Linda, would you like to introduce Tim?
Yes, thank you, Katie. Well, we've got a huge turnout today, so clearly there's a lot of interest in this topic. Tim Ressmeyer, and many of you might know him, he's a certified executive coach and founder of Ressmeyer Partners. But what I think makes Tim so special is that he's a quantitative person, just like all of us. He's worked for over 20 years in analytics and executive roles, including places like IRI, IBM, Mintel, and most recently at Starcom MediaVest. And I think I placed him a time or two along the way there. So, but as head of Ressmeyer Partners, he advises executives and companies around the globe. So what his practice really focuses on is working with executives on career strategies, promote not only their career success, but also their career satisfaction and life satisfaction as well. What he doesn't do is resume review or more of the tactical side of the job search function. So we're really excited that he's partnering with us at Burtch Works, and he's bringing his substantial expertise to all of you in our network. So without further ado, let me turn it over to Tim. Welcome, Tim.
Hey, thank you, Linda, and thank you, Katie. It's great, and yes, there are a lot of familiar names on the participant list today, and it's great to be here, and most importantly, it's great to be partnering with Burtch Works, who, yes, Linda, you've placed me twice over the course of my career. And
I thought so, yeah.
Yes, you did. Yeah, you're the one who brought me into market research to begin with back at IRI in 1996.
Oh, that's
so
right.
That's where it all began. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
All right, so with that, let's just go ahead and jump right in. I'm so excited to be talking about stuff that's just I'm passionate about, and that is developing leaders and developing leadership and how we can be more impactful in all aspects of our lives, personal and professional. We're all leaders, and we're leaders of ourselves first and foremost. Whether you're a manager, a senior executive, or whatever, you're still a leader. And as a leader, you attract people to follow you, whether it's at home or at work, and as a result of this, you get stuff done. How we lead impacts every aspect of our lives, our relationships, success at work, advancement, job search, etc. We decide how we want to show up in each and every situation, and that helps define who and what we are as a leader. People are attracted to and do things for leaders with confidence. Don't allow others to steal your confidence. He put me in a bad mood should never come out of your mouth. He doesn't take your confidence away. You allow it to be taken. Your awareness of and your intentional focus on confidence allows you to be the best leader you can be. After thousands of hours working with leaders in all different capacities, I've seen 4 characteristics that help a leader to success. And those 4 are confidence, connecting, competence, and culture. Today we're talking about confidence, and we will be digging into that in detail. To set context, though, here's a thumbnail of the other 3. Connecting. It's not just about how to communicate, it's how you connect with others, whether it's boards or colleagues, direct reports, clients or vendors. Research confirms that the way we build trust with others through this connecting allows us to achieve success or to unnecessarily create barriers. Competence, subject matter expertise, time management, organization, sales, and productivity are among the array of skills as a leader has to be able to have in their toolkit. Not every person has to be a master of everything, and there are things, though, you just have to know. Culture. Whether you are a leader of 2 or 10,000, you are creating a culture around you, ensuring you are creating an environment of your choosing and it aligns with the corporate culture is an intentional effort that doesn't just happen. Okay, so today we're talking about confidence. The way an individual shows up in every aspect of their professional life is a key to success. Executive presence is built on confidence, and without it, the highest levels of success are not achievable. We build confidence by playing to our strengths while understanding what might be holding us back in overcoming those obstacles. So our topics for today, we're looking at the levels of confidence, the 4 phases of confidence, what gets in your way, the confidence block, and then looking at some of the things that you can do to focus on your strength in order to build that confidence to show up the way that you want. And then as Katie mentioned, we'll have some live Q&A at the end as well. First, let's think about where confidence does help you. Think about these situations and how you feel when you experience them. Don't just think about, but feel what it's like. Meeting people, their perception of you and your judgment of them is driven by confidence. What does that feel like? Creating relationships, getting a new job, making career decisions, getting what you want in all aspects of your life, being a good parent or partner or friend, making decisions effectively, not second-guessing yourself or worrying. Those are all ways that confidence can serve you and to help you accomplish those things in those situations. Those are all situations where confidence helps you move forward. The flip side of those is where a lack of confidence can hold you back. Once again, think about how it feels experiencing these situations. Here are some examples of how lack of confidence manifests itself. Difficulty making decisions, not advancing professionally the way that you want, not speaking up in meetings or elsewhere, not delivering feedback effectively, avoiding conflict, or the fear of failure or embarrassment, all places where confidence, a lack of confidence, can hurt your ability to move forward. When you think about confidence, you don't just have it or not have it. There are different ways you can show confidence. And most importantly, you can choose how you want to exhibit confidence in any situation. Let's look at the 4 phases of confidence. First, the victim. Lacking confidence for many reasons. They let old experiences dominate. They've had a bad experience that they can't let go of. They sit quietly, agonizingly hearing others say the things they wish that they could say. They feel things are just stacked against them, so why try? They show up in meetings, interviews, or in relationships already expecting they can't make a difference. Sometimes this is a result of things that have happened in the past or the way we view ourselves. Perhaps we label ourselves as an introvert, which is really common in the analytics and research world. You don't feel you can come up with comments or answers as quickly as some of the extroverts around you. As a result, you don't even try. Sometimes you say yes in the moment when asked because you couldn't say, let me think about it fast enough. You walk away feeling lousy because you didn't engage in the moment. Or you go up to the leader and offer your opinions after the meeting, and they're wondering why you didn't speak up in the moment. Think about how that feels. How will people around you, your boss, your direct reports, coworkers, clients, friends, respond to you if you're showing up with this kind of a view of yourself? How true is it that you have to show up this way? Sometimes there are things that are stacked against you, but how effective is it to show up this way? Do you do it more frequently than you would like? The second phase of confidence is the mediator. They look at all sides over and over, always trying to please all sides. This can be helpful in times of conflict. If there's a problem, you're willing to admit where you might have some responsibility. You see where you can give and take. You're willing to compromise. You help others try to figure things out too. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and that's okay. On the downside, it might feel good to find common ground, to be fair all the time, but you aren't truly satisfied. You're getting some of what you want, but not all, and you can't fully let go of that. Especially if this happens a lot, it always feels the other guys are getting more of what they want than I am. This is very common in the business world when you feel more naturally as a collaborator, but those around you are much more driven and seem to make all the moves. It doesn't come naturally to be more direct, so you rely on your interpersonal skills to help everyone come to the table and help you make the decision. It helps, but can still impact your ability to learn the skills of owning a decision and making it happen. This is very common at the senior levels of an organization when you've made it to the highest levels but are uncertain as to how to make the biggest impact while still holding on to the style of leadership that you like and has worked for you before. The mediator can limit their ability to move forward because of a lack of decisiveness. They're such a pleaser, they have trouble making decisions and being clear. They're seen as valuable on a team, but not always viewed as a strong leader who can push forward or gain a following. Let's talk about the aggressor. Seen as definitive, the aggressor is clear about what they want and lets everyone know it. They get stuff done because there's no room for the opposing viewpoints or other opinions. If this is happening all the time, the aggressor is actually limiting their effectiveness. They often lack confidence or knowledge and are overcompensating by being aggressive. They're always right, a bully, or they manipulate others to get what they want. She doesn't listen to challenges or alternatives. They get stuff done, but they could do more without draining others. They aren't fully optimizing their own creativity, nor the talent around them. They create more conflict that ultimately takes more time and energy to clean up. We see this type of confidence throughout the workforce. It's the bully leadership that we've all encountered. In one case, it's very prevalent in the research and analytics world for people who have come out of startups or are very entrepreneurial. These leaders have had success and often have big egos. Their need in life is to continue to prove to all those around them that they have all the answers. They don't want to, or know how, to constructively deal with soliciting ideas from others, or making mistakes and rebounding, so instead they just push through with their own agenda. Sadly, people tend not to want to follow an aggressor or give everything they have for too long because they're not contributing at the level they would like and are exhausted by the lack of trust shown to them. Finally, we see the creator. The creator sees every situation as an opportunity. They know they have strength and can deliver value and impact. Even in tough situations, they're confident they can find solutions to bring about an outcome that they want. They keep moving things forward by leveraging their strengths, and they don't have to try too hard to prove their worth to others. One of these strengths is a confidence to listen and learn from others. They do not have to believe or pretend they are the smartest person in the room. They know there are those around them who can contribute to a challenging situation. It doesn't have to only be them. They're not afraid to make mistakes or come up with ideas that might seem crazy. They understand that unleashing their own creativity and encouraging the same from those around them can lead to solutions they never could have come up with if they were feeling like a victim, trying to please everyone, or bullying through decisions. They also know that decisions have to be made, and they're not afraid to take a stand, knowing that if things don't work out as planned, they're able to work to handle that next situation. The research and analytics world is full of the opportunity to create. The data, the models, the tools, the people are too rich to look at narrowly. Look at the ranges of people we work with: marketers, salespeople, programmers, analysts, product managers, project managers, advertisers, clients, etc., etc. We can deliver so much to our clients when we think openly and creatively of how we can develop amazing tools and services to help them grow their business. The creator is able to confidently embrace the array of possibilities presented just by the nature of our industries. Looking at our roles in this way helps us not only be more satisfied in the moment, but helps us to move ahead professionally and personally. Let's do a poll. Let's be extremely honest here. Think about some of the most important conversations that you have at work. Which of the 4 faces of confidence are you most likely to show up with? Katie, can you run the poll?
Yeah, if everyone listening wants to put their vote in, I'll give you guys a few more seconds, and then we can take a look at the results.
Thanks. Okay, I see them coming in.
I love this. I think it's no surprise that mediators. It was very interesting.
Yeah, definitely rising to the top there.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Okay. Yeah. So we have a few victims and aggressors, a lot of mediators, and about half as many of those are creators. So great. Thank you. So let's bring this to life by talking about a real-life situation. You decide how you show up in every situation. So let's look at this scenario. You have a meeting with your boss, and the boss might be in the C-suite, boss might be a manager at any level. And you're going into your boss, and you're talking about your performance. And there's a position that's likely to open on your team, and that would be an advancement for you. You would like that next big role. How do you want to show up for this conversation? So the victim might go into this meeting. Again, they're doing a performance review, and they know that there's an opportunity for a new position. The victim might go in thinking about this conversation with their boss. You know, she just really doesn't value me, and who knows what my performance review is going to be like. Someone else will probably get that role that's opening up. I don't even think I should bring it up because I don't want to put her on the spot and have her say no to me. So that victim, that kind of response in that situation was a choice to go in with that kind of a perspective and an attitude. You've not shown up with confidence. You'll likely not know where you stand. You'll be frustrated, and your level of commitment to your work will be mediocre. She will probably not think of you as a strong contender for the next step. How does the mediator show up? I know she has a tough decision to make, and there are lots of ways to look at the role. There are others she might consider, but I really think I'm qualified. Maybe I'll bring up the idea by asking her how things are going with filling the role and asking if she wants help thinking about it. But if I get bad feedback in my review or she doesn't bring the role up, I won't even discuss it. There will always be another time to discuss, or another job will open up eventually. So for the mediator, you've been a good team player, and that goes a long way. You've not offered clarity for what you want, and that can leave you feeling frustrated and kicking yourself for missing an opportunity. She's not learned much about your aspirations and is not likely to view you as a take-charge person in an important next step. How about the aggressor? I'm so ticked off I don't already have that role, and she hasn't brought it up with me. There's nothing in my review that could possibly prevent me from getting this role. Clearly, I deserve the position, and I've been here long enough that I should have it. I'll let her know that in no uncertain terms, if I don't get it, I'll likely be moving on. You've set up a winner-loser situation here. She might not appreciate being put in that position. If you choose to stay, despite the ultimatum, you will likely still work hard and engage in passive-aggressive behavior that may not satisfy you or advance your degree. You're likely to be pretty unhappy a lot of the time. Finally, the creator. What a great opportunity. I get to spend time with my boss. Sure, there have been ups and downs, but I'm feeling good about what I offer the team. I can encourage honest impact from her and listen to what she has to say during my review. I want to let her know I would love to be considered for the role. If she has doubts about my qualifications, I'd welcome this to understand what those are, take time to share my strengths, and see how I can still be moving towards advancement. So this creator has shown up confident and honest and created an atmosphere of trust by being willing to listen to feedback. Your motivations for bringing up the role are not just about you, but about how your skills can contribute to the shared success of both her and the team. You are seen as a confident champion who can be trusted and valued. So it's easy to say, I want to be more confident. But as we know, it's just not that easy, especially when the conversation is a difficult one. In challenging situations, we wind up writing a story in our own head. It's a story about us, or about them, or about the situation. And that story we write may or may not be true. We need to focus on facts, on reality. Unfortunately, we create these stories or misperceptions that don't allow us to see the facts, and we call these the confidence blocks. The 4 confidence blocks are limiting beliefs, assumptions, interpretations, and gremlins, or our inner critic. Yep, that's right, a gremlin. We all have our gremlins. We get in our own way when these blocks are unchecked. When you begin to realize that this is happening, you can break through these barriers. Let's briefly look at each of the blocks. Limiting beliefs are beliefs you have about the world, about other people, about situations, and about life in general that may or may not be true. Here's some examples. Now, motherhood and career success don't mix. If I haven't made it big by 40, I never will. Genius is decided at birth. Showing emotion is a sign of weakness. People like me, however you define yourself, can't reach the top. These limiting beliefs have been told to you or you've made them up. They're external to your personal experience, but you still believe them to be true. They hold you back from success and stop you from getting what you want. If you do not believe something is possible, you're not likely to attempt it. Even if you do attempt it, you won't devote much energy to achieving that goal because in your gut, you think you won't succeed. So how do we destroy that limiting belief? Here's some suggestions. Identify the belief. What is really at that core of what's holding you back? Ask yourself, how true is that belief really? Look for proof of its truth or lack of proof. Can I find one exception to that belief and blow it up? Ask, where did I get that idea? And finally, ask, how has this belief affected me? Explore the effect of the belief that it's had on your life. Think, what is the cost of the belief to myself and to others that I've been carrying this around? One more, if it's not working for you, what new belief can you come up with that can replace that old belief? The block you want to remove is limiting beliefs. Ask yourself how true it is. Can I find one exception so I don't have to believe it anymore? Confidence block number 2 is assumptions. That's a belief that because something happened in the past, it is automatically going to happen again. Here are some examples. I got turned down for a date, therefore I'll never get a date again. I'll get turned down all the time. I applied for a job at that company and didn't get hired, so they'll never hire me. I struggled in that one course I took, so why bother taking another one? I'll never hire someone from that company again because the one I did hire was a real pain. I got passed over for that promotion, so it's sure going to happen again. I just need to get out of here. Assumptions are more personal than limiting beliefs because something has happened to you to help create the expectation that it will happen again. Assumptions hold you back because you already know something won't work for you because something similar has already happened to you. When you think this way, you fail before you've even tried. And even if you do try, you likely are not at your best. When you hold on tight to your assumptions, you miss out on a whole world of possibilities. So how do we rewrite that assumption? Ask yourself, why again? Does it really happen again? Does it have to happen again the way that it did before? Look at a past situation in which you were able to achieve success. What worked well then? Why was it working well? What strength did you have to do this? How can you take those strengths and apply them in this new situation? And ask yourself, how would life be without those assumptions? Do I really have to relive everything that's happened before, thinking it must happen again? So start by breaking that cycle of falling into assumptions altogether. Confidence block number 3, interpretations. These are the opinion you create about a new situation or experience that, again, may or may not be true. It differs from an assumption because you haven't necessarily experienced it before. Here are some examples. You walk into a meeting and one of the participants gives you a serious look. They don't smile at you, and you assume they don't like you. You interpret it as disapproval. Someone said they'd get back to you by Tuesday about the job, and I still haven't heard, so I'm sure they're not interested in hiring me. He said he would introduce me. That other person hasn't done so. He's totally irresponsible. I'll never make that connection. My package didn't arrive in the mail today, so I'm sure they screwed up the order. I'll never get that package. In essence, you make up a story and unconsciously look for evidence to support it. And you believe that your story is true, whether in actuality your interpretation often represents only one viewpoint among the many that are possible. If you stick with your interpretation, you have little chance of focusing on any other possibility. And as a result, you may feel you have little control over what might happen, and your confidence remains low. So in order to break through, you want to alter the interpretation. Ask yourself these questions. What is another way to look at it? What would be your best friend's or your spouse's or another person's perspective on the situation? How would they interpret that look or that decision not to call you back? What would someone who had the complete opposite point of view from yours say about the situation? Practicing this skill of looking for an alternative viewpoint or reframing the situation helps you consider options that can bring about better success. Finally, this is a fun one, and this is confidence block number 4, your inner critic or your gremlin. A gremlin lies within every one of us. It's our inner critic. It's been with us forever. It's a familiar voice. And some of the things our inner critic might say include, I'm not effective. I don't want to get embarrassed. Who am I kidding here? I'm really not smart enough to do this job right. I don't have enough experience, so why even try? I don't deserve great success. Or, a very common one, the imposter syndrome, is they're going to find out I'm a phony. It's a voice that tells you you're not good enough, don't try, don't take risks. It reminds us of all the things that might go wrong or have gone wrong in the past. As a result, we move ahead with hesitation, or we don't move ahead at all. Our confidence is not strong, and the outcomes are not optimal. Your gremlin will be with you forever, and that's okay. More importantly, though, you can tame it so it doesn't limit your impact. Here are 5 steps to tame your gremlin. First of all, identify it. If the voice inside you is speaking to your limitations and it's not speaking to your greatness, then that is your gremlin speaking. What exactly is your gremlin saying? Listen carefully to what's being said. Name your gremlin. That's right, give your gremlin a name. Can't be an ex-boyfriend or girlfriend or something, but name your gremlin. It takes away its power, and it's only part of you, not all of you. When you do that, you realize it's not all of you. It's a part of me. And then prove your gremlin wrong. Make a list of your successes and accomplishments, and be ready with these when you hear that voice saying you're not good enough or you can't do this. Remember your accomplishments and your successes and prove it wrong. And then finally, just go ahead and tell your gremlin to shut up. You don't need his advice. You don't need his input. I've got this. It takes practice, but once you recognize how that inner critic isn't serving you, name it, remember what you bring to the table, and go tell that gremlin to get lost. So now what? How do you start to do things differently and to move forward? In order to help gain confidence, we benefit from removing those blocks and embracing what we do bring to the table, our strengths. And being really clear what those strengths are and what is the value that we deliver. And each one of us brings a different assortment of strength and value. Too often we underestimate and undervalue our strengths. The things that come naturally to us we take for granted, and we don't fully realize the impact that they can have on others. So for instance, organizational skills. Getting things done on time to please the customer so we can retain them at the higher rate. That's the skill and the value it delivers. Analytic skills. creating models that set us apart from our competitors to gain more market share, speaking to clients, communicating clearly so they understand our services and buy from us more frequently, math skills, developing sophisticated algorithms to more efficiently process data to cut down internal costs, showing empathy, dealing with conflict within the team to reduce lost time and energy and increase employee retention, a strength and a value, getting buy-in, working cross-functionally so diverse groups understand the direction and work is done more efficiently and with less rework, developing processes, automating routine procedures so more time can be spent through the company on higher value items, loving to learn, learning new things to have greater impact in an ever-changing environment. Recognize and be proud of those skills and apply them to build confidence. Those are the things, when you get rid of those confidence blocks, you focus on your strength and the value that delivers that allows you to build that confidence and move forward more effectively to have that happier, more fulfilled, and more productive professional and personal life. Katie, I'll turn it back to you.
Thanks, Tim. Well, Tim has provided some really interesting insights today. I'm sure you all have lots of questions, so feel free to send those in to me via chat, and we will start the Q&A in just a moment. If you are interested, please feel free to connect further with Ressmeyer Partners. Tim and his team provide one-on-one leadership and executive coaching, onboarding of new leaders, advisory services, workshops, and private events. And here is Tim's information in case you're interested in getting in touch with him. If you happen to find yourself on the job market soon, you can also explore new opportunities or post your quantitative or research opportunity on our niche job board, which is trafficked by thousands of professionals in analytics, in data science, and in market research. Aside from searches that we're engaged on as executive recruiters, we've recently opened up our job board to all of our clients. So if you're on the hunt for a new targeted place to post your ads, definitely get in touch with us. We offer several pricing options depending on your needs. And of course, don't forget that Burtch Works is a recruiting firm. So if you're looking to add to your staff, we'd be happy to speak with you. We offer contingency and retained services from the entry level all the way up to CXO searches. So please reach out via email if you want to brainstorm, info@burtchworks.com. And coming up in the next few weeks, we'll be presenting the results of our most recent joint survey with Forrester Research, the 2017 State of Customer Analytics. So keep your eye out for an invitation to that event where our partners over at Forrester will be sharing some highlights from this year's survey, discussing the adoption of tools and data sources within customer analytics across the nation. So as promised, we will have time for a few questions today. So let's jump in, and feel free to continue sending your questions in using that chat box on the left side of your screen. But Tim, first question for you. At what level of an organization do you think confidence is most important?
Yeah, great question. Thank you, Katie. Definitely at all levels. And I think it's really helpful to evaluate where you are in the organization and see what you want the impact of that confidence to be. It's sort of knowing your place. So if you're junior level, be confident, wanting to move forward, but knowing that you still want to move ahead in an appropriate way. If you're at a senior level, that's often where we see the flip of that, is people at senior levels often don't show up with the kind of confidence that they can. Maybe they've gotten bumped up and they don't feel fully capable, or guessing, why am I here? Or they don't feel like they operate the same level with those around them. So being really aware of your confidence at the senior-most levels, to go ahead and ask for what's next, to be able to show up in those meetings, to be present and direct with your team in a way that shows confidence that will help you advance even at the senior-most levels.
Perfect. Thank you, Tim. We received a couple of questions about, I think, kind of people that are more introverted. So what's the best way to assert yourself as an expert when many people in the room have an opinion and are confident too?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, the first thing to remember is that, for many years, introversion was seen as a pathology or there's something wrong or whatever, and that's just so not true. Introversion, extroversion, we're all on that continuum of one end to the other, and that's great. You're right where you're supposed to be. That's where you fall. How effectively you use your skills of extroversion or introversion, that's where the difference comes in. That's where the fun is. So I would suggest to those who are more on the introverted end is to own the playing field. Create the environment that you want when asked questions or asking questions that gives you the time to process the information. Don't feel bullied into making a decision right away. A great tip is when you're working with a group of people, say you're leading a team, is you throw a question out to the group and you're looking for an answer. Rather than just letting people blurt stuff out, is say, take 15 seconds before anyone answers. I'm going to ask a question, wait 15 seconds, and then raise your hand or offer your suggestions. That way it gives the introverts the time to process differently and process the information, and you get 80% more participation by introverts in that case. So don't worry about it. Ask for time if you're asked a question. Say, hey, let me think about that a little bit, or let me get back to you. Don't feel pressured into doing it right away, and that way you can manage either up or down if you are more of an introvert.
Perfect. Kind of on the flip side of that, we received a couple questions about, how do you guard against confidence so it doesn't turn into or is it mistaken for kind of being arrogant? Any insights or thoughts there?
Sure. No, that's a great one. And again, so many successful leaders have that confidence and can push forward in that way. And it is often perceived as arrogance, or that would be the aggressor kind of perception that we talked about earlier. A great way to think about that is to stop making it all about me and make it about them. If you go into that conversation and it's not just I have to get my point across, I have to make sure they know I'm right, I have to make sure they know I'm smart, that's going to come across as that arrogance. If instead, hey, I know I've got all this. I know I've got all this I can contribute right here. But when you look at them and you say, what do they really need? What are they looking for? Let me listen to them and find out what they really need from me. So suddenly you're shifting that, and you will be more effective because you're not just pushing something at them, but you are connecting with them and delivering something that's of value to them. So shift from it's all about me to it's about them and how can we figure this out together.
Perfect. What do you suggest someone does when they are in an environment where everyone is very negative to each other and kind of beats people down? Any suggestions?
Yeah, the toxic environment and bully leadership and all of that. First of all, if you're a leader and you're in an environment and you are helping to not correct this, step up and take ownership. You, as I said earlier, one of the other topics we'll talk about in the future is the culture. You are creating a culture around you. So if you're a leader and you're allowing that to exist and it's not right, address it. And there are things that can be done to start to create a non-toxic environment. If you're in it and you feel like you can't control it, guess what? You still can control it. Even if you're mid-level and your team is all this way, you can stop exhibiting those behaviors and start to be in a more positive place yourself. Stop blaming others. Stop the gossip. Stop the backbiting. And start to look for ways how you can improve the culture around you. So own your own culture. If you go through just saying this place is horrible, they're so mean, it stinks, all that kind of stuff, you're showing that victim confidence. Even if you're angry, it's still the victim level of confidence because you feel like you can't make a change. How can you make a change? Look at those places where you can exhibit the positive behaviors and start to bring about the change yourself.
Perfect. Thanks, Tim. We received a question from someone kind of in a leadership position. How do you maintain confidence when you acquire a cross-functional team in areas you are not clearly an expert in? How do you get buy-in from those new team members that that they believe that you're a good leader for them?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's so common. It's tough, it's a whole thing, hierarchy versus influence and all of that. So when you do have others and you are not the expert, like I said to one of the earlier questions, is get over yourself. Admit it. Be transparent with those people and say, you know what? Hey, I don't know as much as you guys do in your area, and thank goodness you're here to help me learn. I know a lot. I know a lot in my area. I've got responsibility here to help move this forward and to create a cohesive team here. But I will admit, I do not know as much as you guys do. So help me learn. And this is, again, where I tell my clients this all the time, is ask questions and then shut up and listen. Really want to learn from them. And when you exhibit that kind of trust that you want to learn from them, they will be willing to learn from you. So get over yourself and be willing to learn from them, as well as being confident yourself. And actually that shows the most confidence in the world, is when you admit you don't know something and you're asking to learn. That shows confidence, and that also builds trust with those other people.
Perfect. We received kind of an interesting question. How do you think a type A personality is different from confidence?
Type A people, they can exhibit any of these four faces of confidence. I mean, they're all, a type A person could be a creator, very easily, and that's the best type A's would be. They're always looking for stuff. They're able to see things, help move things along, but they're doing it in a way that's tapping into the resources around them. It's not all about them. They're creating something, more effective than they could all by themselves. A type A could be, I really want to push, could be a victim. I really want to push forward. I really want this to happen. But they're going about it in a way where they continue to blame other people why they can't be successful. Or a type A could very easily be the aggressor, where they are just the bully. Hey, I'm the right way. I'm driven. I've got all this energy. I've got all this passion. And I'm just going to steamroll over everyone else. It's got to be my way. So I think all of those faces can show up with a type A personality.
Mm-hmm. Another kind of interesting question about sort of interpersonal relationships between a leader and their team. Is being too friendly with peers and teams a sign of lack of confidence? Do you need to build some distance in with coworkers in order to create kind of an aura as a leader?
Yeah, that's a great question. Through my career, there have been times I've been, real friends with, coworkers and, up and down the hierarchy, and other times not as much. It's very situational. I mean, some people respond well in those with those relationships. Others don't. So you have to be aware of those around you. A lot of it is your motive, your motivation for those connections. Why? Why do you need to have those connections? Is it just part of your personality and you really do like to connect and you feel that that's beneficial to connect? Okay. If it becomes an escape and you're using that as a crutch to not take the stand yourself and show more confidence that I have to have everybody like me before I can make decisions, then that might fall more into that mediator kind of bucket. But if those relationships fuel you and it helps you succeed, that's okay. The danger there as well is creating cliques of who you are friends with and who you're not friends with, and that can lead to problems too with favoritism and all of that. So a lot of it is what's the motivation behind it, why do you need it, and how does that serve your overall goal? What's your vision and mission for your team, and does creating those kinds of relationships help or detract from that?
Perfect. I think we have time for one more question. So someone wrote in, as a new leader at a senior level, I've kind of walked into a job only to find out it's very different than what had been explained to me. How do you do a good job when you feel kind of like you've been duped?
Good one. Yeah, and that does happen. First of all, check your own ego. Why am I feeling this way? Look at some of the the interpretation block. Is this really the way it is? Did they really dupe me? Did they lie to me or not? So how true is it? You're there for a reason. Okay, even if it wasn't exactly what you expected and you feel a little bit duped, think about your strengths. What do you bring to the table? how can you prove that you are set up for this role and you can be successful even if it wasn't what you expected? Stop the blame. Stop making it about them. They lied to me. They weren't honest. They weren't forthcoming. They hid things from me. You're making it all about them. Switch that back to you. Hey, here I am in this situation. How do I gain clarity about what I really need to do? How do I gain clarity about, hey, what was or wasn't presented to me correctly? And how do I want to step up and own this new position? If you're approaching it from a creator mindset, you're going to find the solutions and you'll be able to make it happen. If you approach it from the victim face and you're there, oh my gosh, they lied to me, you're not going to be able to come up with answers. And it'll be very frustrating, and success is far less likely.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Tim, for sharing all of those insights with us. That's about all the time that we have for today. If you're interested in getting in touch, please feel free to email Ressmeyer Partners directly or email us here at Burtch Works, and we're happy to answer any questions you might have or put you in touch. Like I said, a recording of today's session will be available on our YouTube channel, so if you missed a part of it or want to share it with anyone, please feel free to check that out at youtube.com/BurtchWorks. Thank you for joining us, everyone, and we will see you again soon.
Katie, I'd love to jump in for just a second. This is Linda. Tim, thank you so much. That was so interesting and I hope really helpful to the audience. One of the common themes that you talked about almost in every slide was the ability to learn something new. And it's something that I preach all the time in every webinar, every talk I give. I talk about how from a quantitative perspective it's really important for our audience or our community to really continue to learn new quantitative techniques and new tools and what's new out there because things are changing so quickly. But Tim, I love the idea of not only thinking about it from a technical tools perspective, but also from learning about yourself as a person, as a professional, and how you can grow in sort of the softer side of the equation. So I thought it was perfect, and I'm really looking forward to continuing learning through your webinars and also blogs. So everybody kind of keep in touch with us. And I'd reach out to Tim. I know, Tim, you had indicated that you usually do, what, a 20-minute sort of brief conversation to talk about things, and then potentially, would you spend just a minute kind of talking about your the way you work with people?
Sure. Yeah, great. Thank you for that, Linda, and thanks for drawing out that that constant learning. It's real easy to think about learning the technical stuff and the new systems and processes and programming languages that are out there. But yeah, man, life is hard, and when we focus on ourselves and always learn how to improve, that goes a long way. So my coaching practice, Ressmeyer Partners, the easiest way to get in touch is shoot me an email, let me know what's going on, and then I can give you a link to my calendar, and we can schedule just an intro 15 or 20-minute call. And at that point, we talk about what's going on in your life. I explain more about my practice and how one-on-one coaching could benefit you. I have other coaches that work with me under Ressmeyer Partners, and I assign, then I make referrals to other coaches based on what would make a good fit. Typically, I work with clients. It's a monthly subscription. We work, indefinitely, easy in, easy out, a commitment of 3 months up front, and then off we go. And we work on those things that are most important to you, both personally and professionally, to help you move forward. And then we, based on what your wants and needs are, that determines how many hours a month we work, and it's typically by phone. Does that help, Linda?
Yeah, that's great. And you also do some work on the corporate side, too.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So I work with senior leaders, with executives, and with leadership teams. It's an area of focus for me, is working with teams. I do a lot with onboarding, so if you're a senior manager and you're bringing new executives onto your team to help them onboard most effectively, that's an area that I work with as well. Too often we bring people on, and unfortunately they're not supported in the most effective way, both personally and technically, and that can lead to that awful expense of hiring somebody new after just a short amount of time because they just weren't onboarded effectively. So the leadership development can be a big part of that.
Great, great. Well, again, thank you so much, and thanks for all the audience for participating, asking some really great questions, and attending today. So hope to see you in a couple months here. Well, actually next month on our Forrester joint webinar. A lot of interesting stuff will come out of that talk, and then look for a blog. I think we have Tim on the agenda for December, and then another webinar with Tim in January. So I'm sure I'm missing a whole lot of things that we've got lined up here. But again, thanks so much for attending today, and keep track of what the other things that we have going on in the future. Okay, thanks everybody.
Thank you everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.